folks. You're watching AfterBuzz TV, and we're discussing Lucifer Episode 10, Pops. We'll talk about the father, the son, and holy mother of Detective Decker. Hail Satan!
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin!
Yeah.
I'm just enjoying the music here. This is one of my favorite songs, of course, by INXS, The Devil Inside. I'm your host, Lacretia Lyon, and I'm leading tonight's Lucifer panel since Stephen Lemieux is out sick. You can always find me, if you can spell my name right, at LACRETIALYON all over the internet, since there's only one. And of course, here are my lovely co-hosts.
Hello, hello. My name is Samantha Benitz. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Samantha_Benitz.
And you can find me at MR Dave Child because I'm Dave Child. Hello.
Obviously, we are really tired here, and you know, some of us.
That's a good way to start.
Yes.
We're fine.
Yeah.
We're fine. So I guess we should talk about the show, huh? How do we feel about it?
I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna. How about you start?
Yeah, to me, it's just, you know, I liked it. It was entertaining, but yeah, I do prefer more the supernaturally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. What do you think?
I thought this was a little bit of a slower episode, to be honest. I liked probably the plot line a little bit more with Chloe and Dan and Lucifer and Chloe's mom being in town more than I would say the actual procedural plot per se on this one.
Right.
But you know, it did work. Still, I felt that there was some successful elements of the case that I liked, and it kind of put me a little bit more on a goose chase than usual. I usually can figure out whoever the criminal is right away. I don't know, maybe because I'm cynical or not really sure. You like that cynical?
Yeah, I mean this one was a weak one for me. I'm really into whenever they actually talk about the big episode, the big like plot of Lucifer and his dad, and I usually like that. But this is an episode where they just kind of tread water the whole time, and they kept talking about internal feelings that we already knew and just explaining them over and over and over again.
Yeah, because I like that he understood, you know, Chloe's deal with her mom, comparing it to his dad. That made a lot of sense. Same thing with Javier's son and talking about that. So it's like those parallels were great. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to see more of Chloe's mom. Rebecca De Mornay, you know, Risky Business. I mean, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. I mean, great actress, and all we got was that she was this former scream queen working on the convention circuit, which, as I've always said, the Autograph Alley is just one drug addiction away from Skid Row.
Right. Well, like I think that's a good place to start because I was disappointed with how that they decided to go with a character that was a childish mom, kind of like a ditzy LA woman. I was hoping we would get an interesting character because they teased this mom character kind of early on in the show and saying that she was a big star, and I got the feeling that they were trying to draw a parallel between her and God in a way because Chloe was an actress, was in the same business as her mom, and then went away from that to punish bad guys. We've said that in previous episodes. So basically had the same path as Lucifer in a lot of ways. So I was hoping we would get this interesting character that could kind of fill in for God in a lot of ways, or be also kind of hint at maybe why Chloe has this ability to not be affected by Lucifer.
Right.
Like maybe she's also has that ability, and maybe she does, but we haven't seen it yet. And all we saw was a character that was a lot like it reminded me of Arrow, actually, Felicity's like mom coming in, and it felt like a character that we've seen before.
It reminded me of like dance moms, of how like or stage moms, you know, obviously that want to get their kids into show business. So you have the stereotypical mothers who take it to the nth degree and go that far, and obviously kind of ruin their child's innocence and childhood just because of their dream that was left unfulfilled, you know, in some regard. But I did like that this character had a lot more dimensions than that. Like, I kind of felt like she was going to be super surfacey. When I first saw the first few minutes, I was like, oh, she's just going to be one of those. She's going to flirt with Lucifer, and then Chloe's going to have to roll her eyes and be like, Mom, not again. Every boyfriend you do this. I don't know. That's kind of what I figured was going down. Yeah, so it kind of seemed like
then they
that
could have
dynamic.
like a sex off. That would be interesting. If
Yeah,
they had
I
sex
kind of
off.
thought Lucifer and Penelope were going to end up sleeping together this episode.
Yeah, that'd
I
be
really
great.
did. Yeah, but I'm glad that he didn't in some regard, because I felt like that kind of left it open for him and Chloe, despite I know a lot of fans don't really want to see that relationship come to fruition. But, you know.
Is that a big thing that people are like going against?
Oh,
They're
yeah, I feel
unshipping
like,
it?
yeah, they're not really wanting to see the romance. I think,
Right.
I'm guessing because it may be too obvious, like, oh, clearly because you can't, it's a challenge, and then
Right.
once you get it, are you going to still want it, or is it just kind of like, yeah, I got it, I achieved her, and now what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my opinion. I'm like, I don't really want to see them together because I think it just would ruin the show. I mean, not like the moonlighting curse, but it's just, I mean, I don't see them that way. I mean, he's just really pursued her. I mean, he sees her as a friend and he pursues, you know, of course, the sex, but then when he's offered it, he didn't take it.
Under those terms, though.
Yeah,
I think he'd
exactly.
still take
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
but she was drunk, so he was like,
Oh, God.
But that was
he's
still
the
hard.
devil.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's fine, and it shows that he's a good person. But he's the devil.
But they were trying to make it ironic with the whole comment at the end where he went, oh, God.
God,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So he was
Yeah.
trying to bring it back to the phrase that he hated, realizing that he had also become one of those susceptible to his emotions, therefore not taking up on an ample opportunity
Yeah.
of the woman he wants to get with throwing herself at him. But
I know
while
what they're
drunk and disorderly.
doing. I just don't agree with it. Like, I know, I know that it's fine that they're going with like, oh, he's becoming more human, and
Right,
thus he's
right, right.
becoming a better person, so he won't take
You're just
advantage.
wishing they go different road entirely.
I just wish that he would. I wish that he would do something to scare Chloe, or Chloe would do something to scare Lucifer.
Yeah, that would be more interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
because to me, it's like making him more human is making him a better person. I don't
Right.
really get that parallel because, you know,
more
as
human,
people-
more mistakes.
Yeah, that's what I would think. Is more
Yeah.
human, he's going to screw up more, not
Yeah.
do the right thing. So, I mean, because technically Lucifer is an angel. I mean,
Right.
you'd think
fallen one,
yeah,
right?
yeah, he's a fallen one, but you'd think an angel would be better than a human.
Right.
Right. And we've skipped kind of
Yeah.
like right to the end of like their almost hookup. But I also want to bring up a big question that we've talked about in this show is whether Chloe is the reason why he gets hurt. He can only be hurt by Chloe. Because this is the
fire
first.
burned
Yeah, they
him.
blew it around.
This is the first episode where we see him get hurt outside of that one gunshot.
Right.
And that was the fire, but that was also because he was carrying Chloe.
Right.
So it could be, is she like a kryptonite? Where if he's just around her, he gets hurt? Or is he actually getting more mortal as it goes on? I want to see him get hurt away from Chloe.
I think
Yeah.
the more he succumbs to his feelings, the more mortal he becomes. I
Right.
think as like a demon or a devil, like you don't really have a conscience. So the more that he allows his conscience to break through his soul, without sounding emo, but it totally
Yeah.
break
Totally
through the
emo.
depths of his soul. But you know, that he will become more and more human and then susceptible to whatever.
Keep
Chloe.
thinking of more human than human.
Yeah,
Like,
it's the Rob Zombie
the
song.
Rob
Yeah.
Zombie. But what I would kind of want, and I know this is jumping far ahead to kind of like predictions, but like what I would want in this relationship is if the only way that their shipping or relationship will actually work is if he realizes he can't be with her because he's losing his abilities or powers, and it's turning him more human, and he dislikes that because right now he's liking it too much for my taste.
Yeah,
Like,
him and Maze both are liking this becoming human a little much, and you're like, where's the struggle?
Okay, yeah, maybe this is
Yeah.
time to go over to
Yeah.
Maze and what happened with Maze in this episode. We see Maze have an interaction with the Doctor, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, I like her and Dr. Linda together. I do love that she tried to have sex with her. That was so
Yeah.
funny. And she's like, "Hold, no, wait, I don't swing
Right.
that way." I was surprised.
Yeah, but you were surprised the Doctor didn't swing that way, is what you're saying?
I was like, I could see Dr. Linda, being.
I think she's all swept up on a Menon deal right now too.
Right.
Yeah.
She's interested in the angel more than the sexy demon.
Even.
Sex
She's
demon.
got a type. Well, actually, she likes
She's
the
a
devil
sex
though too.
demon.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does. She
likes
sit
both.
with the devil. Yeah. But I thought that was like a strange choice for her character, because I like that she's constantly fighting against the humanity within Lucifer, and this is the first episode where she is trying to embrace human herself, and because she says she needs to become more normal, but we all know that means she wants to become more human.
Yeah, and I think, I really like that she just sat down with Dr. Linda and was like, this is what you do for him, do it for me, because she's like, I'm stuck here. Because,
Right.
him, with the burning of the wings and throwing her out, she's sort of just succumbed to that. It's not like she's just like, I'm going to be human.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
but-
like, I'm
No,
kind
no.
of stuck with the decisions he's making, and I did make a vow to be with him forever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thanks a lot, because you're getting all swept up over with Chloe, which I thought that was good too, that they also had the interaction finally that Joe
Yeah.
Henderson mentioned between Trixie and Maze. And obviously Trixie's so cute. I love her. And I thought actually I didn't love, but I thought it was funny that Maze poured her like a big old thing of brandy.
Oh, I love that.
I'm
That was
like,
so cute.
I thought she was going to drink it. So I'm like,
See,
oh boy.
I kind of. Well, the thing is, what I want Lucifer to do is more devilish
Right.
demon stuff
Those
like
type of
that.
things.
That's adorable,
page
but
out of
also
Maze
is
book.
like, I want him to be more Maze-like. And I love that scene. I think that scene was the best scene
I
of
agree.
the episode, just because the Trixie sitting at the bar and them having a conversation, visually that was awesome. And also just the conversation was good, and I feel like they're exact opposites.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have them talk, and that was by far the best scene. And I love that I love Maze's comment, like, who wants to dress you up like a drag queen?
Girl drag queen. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was funny. And to me, it's just like, she's like, you can call me Maze. And then Chloe's like, oh, thank you, Maze. And she's like, that was just for her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
I don't
yeah.
know. My favorite scene was still at the dinner table when everybody was there. Detective Douche, you have Lucifer, you have the mom, you had even
Guy.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, Junior was there. So yeah, you had
Yeah.
kind of everybody at the
Javier.
table, and you can still see already. I love that the theme also in this episode was this parental offspring rivalry just across the board. You have God and Lucifer. You have Chloe and her daughter, or actually not Chloe and her daughter. I'm sorry, Chloe and her mom.
Yeah.
And you have all of these different type of dynamics butting heads, and putting them all together at one table. I just thought like, oh yeah, success right here. So put it all together, and I love that Lucifer just kind of laid it all on the line and
Yeah.
kind of said, so this is the reason you're not sleeping with me. And
Yeah.
of course, Detective Douche gets enraged and
Right, 'cause we
rolls
should
out
be-
as he usually
Yeah.
does.
Let's talk about what's happening with Malcolm and Detective Douche,
Right.
or Dan.
Yeah, because Joe Brody actually brings up a good comment regarding that. Is like, maybe the episodes are trying to make Lucifer and Maze more human, since Malcolm is alive and a bigger bad now, and they can come
Right.
together in the end, kind of like setting that up, because it's like, it wouldn't be believable
Right.
if we weren't leading to this. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I could see that, but I'm still pushing for more demons from hell to come
too.
popping up. I want more like souls to come up for them to fight. Or I was hoping that with Malcolm they were leading to something where it's the first, and he is the first soul out of hell to like possess someone and come back. It's just it's his own body, and he's fighting against. So I was hoping he would be going after Lucifer because he was Lucifer. But being a part of Amenadiel's plan is also good. What I didn't like about this episode was that he didn't do anything to further that plot. All he did was have a conversation with Dan about, oh yeah, well, we're gonna have to go kill Lucifer. You should decide if you want to do this with me. And we get that fake out of at the dinner table where Dan's like, oh, you want to sleep with my wife? Maybe you will die, and then leave. But we knew. I mean, we knew
Dan's
he
like
was.
That's not what's
yeah.
going to happen, because at the end of the scene, Malcolm chokes out Dan.
Yeah, chokes out Dan.
And
yeah.
you can see on the floor that he picks up his cell phone and he texts Chloe and breaks up with her, which is the
Right.
reason why Chloe goes after Lucifer at the end of the night. So
yeah,
there
he
is
does
kind of
do.
a subplot going on there where he doesn't want Chloe with Dan, which is interesting to me. Maybe because he feels like she could talk him out of hurting Lucifer.
I think he's also just screwing with Dan in a way.
Right.
Yeah,
I think
he's
he
trying
just
to get him
wanted,
back.
Just
yeah.
get him
Yeah.
vulnerable. Okay.
Yeah, getting away. And I also love. on those scenes, whenever someone is choking someone out like that, they always have to have like, I just kind of said it with him, where it's like, go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
They always have to say, go to sleep, so you know he's not dead. Because this could be his death, but no, it's go to sleep.
Yeah, we're not even gonna do that fake out.
Yeah.
And isn't Chloe a detective? I'm sure that Malcolm texted her in his voice, not Dan's. So it's like, wouldn't you question that? I mean, and that sort of...
And he broke up with her over a
talk.
text after he just said he wanted to get back together, but she probably thinks this is just like Dan, you know, rolling out when things are getting good, and this is just typical. So I think she's already gone through this cycle a few times, and now she's...
You know what? All Malcolm had to do was go to his recent emojis and include his recent emojis, and Chloe will be like, well, those are the emojis he uses. He usually does use the happy poop face, so, and the sad devil face. Uses that a lot recently.
And this is so like Castle. They totally did that by deciphering emojis on Castle. So yeah, as you're always making the parallel.
Castle. Yeah. That's what this show is. But you know, it's fine. One thing. So now that we talked about, so that it ends there. So where do we think the Malcolm and Dan story is going to go? Do you think?
I think Dan is going to turn himself in, because that's the only way he can fix this. Because you even saw he was trying to arrest me. You know, he's like, hey, no, you know, if I lose Chloe, that's fine. I need to do the right thing. So I think that'll be it. When he wakes up, he's at least going to try to turn himself in. But who knows? I mean, Malcolm could be like planting stuff. You know?
I think Malcolm's up to something for sure. Just because he set up the whole thing with Chloe, he kind of seemed like she is a pawn in his plan, and I think he's going to kind of do whatever to use Dan still. Just, I don't know, he's going to either attack Chloe or go after something that's important to him, to where he kind of has to do what he says, in my opinion. I'm not sure, but... I
mean, I think this could be a good opportunity for Malcolm to set up Dan
that's what I'm
as
thinking.
the killer of Lucifer. So I think he's going to try and kill Lucifer and pin it on Dan. And
the irony,
and you know, have him be passed out holding a gun after. I guess that's how you would do it.
Ooh, speaking of parental offspring rivalries, which I was
good
getting at
segue.
earlier. Also, we have the one with Junior and his father.
Yeah, the main storyline.
Exactly, Javier.
This is called Pops because it's named after the chef.
It's not the cereal.
No? Don't you think it's a cereal? I know you were all watching this episode hoping it was a cereal. Sorry, it isn't.
It's totally ironic, though, since this is a cereal. See, I had to be Steven for the day, the puns.
Great, because that's what we really miss from Steven, are those wonderful puns. But yeah, the chef is dead in the beginning, and everyone at the restaurant calls him Pops, which makes Lucifer so happy.
Guy's like, shut up.
He's like, great, this is a great way to talk about my own daddy issues, because everyone's, and he also gets happy by the is it patricide?
Yes.
Patricide?
And who do you say? Oedipus, Voldemort, and who else? Like, there was like another name thrown in there. I thought it was really funny.
Oh, I forget. Yeah, it's like the examples of just crazy.
Chat roll, let us know.
Yeah. So he had to, he was looking into they were all looking into the death of Pops. And they
Who
went
was
through.
poisoned with lace heroin as well. So that gave him a few clues.
Yeah, and we had the sous chef. It is sous chef.
Yes.
Also get poisoned, and that was our big red herring of the episode.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments, and this is mostly for people who have visited LA, was that the restaurant was apparently in the Grove, which is this outdoor, very Disney-esque kind of mall, and is just full of tourists and full of
like a fun shopping center.
Yeah, and it has it's where Mario Lopez does his stuff.
No, he does it at Universal now, but he used to.
Oh, it used to be there. Yeah. Okay, and it has dancing fountains and stuff. So my favorite moment was when they were showing the Grove, and just like the badass music was like mall, outdoor mall, outdoor mall. And then you go into actual restaurant. Just a great segue that I loved.
That was a great perceiving of that scene. That really just put it into context for me.
By the way, I will be doing the music for the next episode of Lucifer.
At the Grove.
Please catch my show at the Grove with Dave Child. I'll just sing songs.
Yeah, and what I loved is being based at the Grove, and if you've ever been there, the fact that it caught on fire and didn't catch anything else on fire, because everything here is so close together.
Right.
If something catches on fire, the whole neighborhood's going down, especially the Grove. I thought that was funny. I'm like, did God protect the Grove? No.
Maybe so.
Yeah. I want to bring up one thing, by the way, in Michael Geacock says in the live chat, sorry if I mispronounced that name, but you rebelled against your father and instead became him, that's nothing like me line made me think maybe he is being groomed to take over the family business. That's an interesting point. That's one thing that we see with the Javier character, is that he's the one that's kind of the suspect, but turns out to be the son done good, and has become his father and ends up getting the ashes of the restaurant at the end. So there could be some interesting link to what they're trying to do with Lucifer, what God's plan is with Lucifer, because I feel like this is all part of God's plan.
Right.
The Chloe and turning him good and turning him more human. It would be an interesting twist that like he's being turned this way so that he could become the next god, or could kind of be allowed back into
I was thinking
heaven?
maybe back as one of the like angels.
One of the angels.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know about taking over the whole role.
Maybe God wants to go on his own vacation.
Yeah, he's ready to retire. I mean,
Is Lucifer qualified?
and little Nicky, I mean, Satan retires, so like,
Yeah,
I
and
think
this is all about Satan retiring, so maybe it's God's going to retire to Orlando or something.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know, or LA. Why would he do that?
Or the Grove.
We need him there.
God in the Grove. God, I want to do my own version of Adam and Eve where they just escape the Grove, and that's their Eden.
The new modern Adam and Eve, huh?
Yeah, and it's totally funny because the Grove does have awesome caramel apples, so totally recreate
And
that
everyone's
apple scene.
naked there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm focusing on the
Just
weird stuff. So let's go back to this show.
Yeah, okay, Steffi Place did say it. I knew it had to be a serial killer, because why did someone who studied that in college forget this? But yeah, the Menendez brothers were the third one.
Menendez brothers, yes. They were the patricide. Right. So where do we think this show is going? Where do we think is...
To hell.
To hell. I wish.
I know.
I wish it was going to hell and that we would get more like hellish characters, but...
Yeah, because he who shall I not name, because my mom told me if I say John Constantine one more time, she's going to smack me, but...
Your mom, okay, can we talk about this actually?
Yeah.
This was the episode that you said right before we watched it, that your mom was like meh about this episode.
I know, she loves the show, and I'm like, as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, I get why. Too close to home.
Yeah, you said that, especially during the mom-daughter scene where they have that conversation. Why do you think that?
Oh, well, I mean, I was like a child prodigy, so I guess I kind of had to be adult, like, because I, it was like, lived like Malcolm in the Middle. But yeah, so I saw that. It's like, oh yeah, and the smart kid, you gotta fix all this stuff.
So was your mom also a former star?
No.
Of some sort?
No,
Okay.
my mom sells lube, but like the auto kind, not the fun kind.
Okay, that really threw me off. I was like, whoa, I think...
Mommy, when you watch this tomorrow at work.
Right. I think Lucifer
Sorry.
will like your mom quite a bit. It sounds like. I do like also in this episode we had the return of the mention of the Britneys.
Yes, I love
They're in
that.
every episode. I'm like, get them out.
Just the Britneys. I like them just being referred to the Britneys.
The Britneys.
Yeah,
It's funny.
The referral's good.
And he always has that out of his back pocket where he's like, I can always go visit the Britneys. So that's something.
I know. They were funny, though. I feel like, the girls that we saw them in, a few episodes back, and
Right.
they just sit there and, do threesomes, so that's all they're good for. And this show. But aside from that, I thought it was funny that they also referenced this dynamic between Chloe and her mom, to go back to that, you know, on a little segue, just because it showed such an interesting line of why Chloe is the way she is and why she wants to fight crime. And she's not really just into this whole, like, showboating type of lifestyle. She really wants to do good and this or that. But I don't know. I liked that she is willing to go against her mom's word, even though it is her mother's word. Because I felt like that's kind of a reoccurring theme in the show as well, is you're not always listening to what is told or instructed to you until it actually becomes relevant and you realize why they were teaching you that lesson, if it is indeed conducive to you growing up. But you know, to see her come to this show and try to reconcile also with Dan, and they mentioned that at the dinner table, you know, oh, are Dan and her getting back together? And they kind of mentioned, oh, maybe. So the interesting thing is they may or may not, but I still think it's going to cause more and more rivalry between Lucifer and Dan, especially leading up to this final episode coming up here. And I wouldn't be shocked to see them go toe-to-toe. But do you guys also think Amenadiel is going to get involved with the whole showdown, or is he going to be watching with popcorn?
Right. It's going to be interesting to find out how Amenadiel is involved in this last one, because he's moving Malcolm around like a chess piece. If a chess piece was just one person that he was just throwing at another person. Because it's kind of what he's doing in this. He's just like, all right, I just set up one person to just try and go kill Lucifer. I feel like I would bring a couple people back from the dead and make the same plan, just to kind of, you know, just to make sure.
Just to make sure. I mean, you got to have a few people. And Malcolm, all he does is eat all the time. Like, you know, you got to have some better people than that.
I'm also wondering if any other angels are watching, like, Amenadiel and going, like, he's doing a lot of weird stuff recently.
Yeah. Questionable things.
Yeah, which makes it open for maybe other angels to show up.
Yeah, I did get a tweet today. I forget your Twitter handle, but she did ask if we thought that Amenadiel was going to become a fallen angel.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's pretty close to that.
I said the same thing. I said he's next up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of think that, you know, God will be like, oh, Lucifer's my favorite son now. You know, like dads do.
Right, exactly. The favoritism.
Someone, Joe Brody, who's killing it in the chat today, or maybe it's just talking while we're looking at it, says something great where I think Maze saves Trixie from something big, and Trixie will be the buffer between Dan and Lucifer, which is a good idea, because they are setting up a relationship between Trixie and Maze, and that's something that maybe Amenadiel doesn't care too much about.
Right. Yeah, because he wouldn't hurt a child. I mean, I wouldn't think.
Well, you wouldn't think, but I don't know. He's like, he's the most evil character of the show right now,
and the best looking. Who knew?
Yeah, and he's the angel. He's the guy that's like. Sometimes the bad guy ends up being the smartest guy, and I think that's happening with Amenadiel right now. Because he's plotting around Lucifer. One thing I wish the show was doing was that Lucifer was plotting around Amenadiel at the same time.
Right.
But Lucifer tends to be just like
chilling. He's just enjoying life, I feel like, and he's not really worried about what's going to happen to him. But I think he should start to be, especially now that he was lit on fire. It's kind of like, okay, you were shot, you were bleeding, you've now experienced what it feels like to be burned, and that's ironic, of course.
Yeah,
it
that
comes
was funny.
from hell, and the flames, obviously. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to start paying more attention and actually catching up to where Amenadiel is, because I feel like if Amenadiel is plotting like he is, then definitely it's going to lead to some form of a downfall and a power shift.
Yeah, remember we also have Maze with that feather, whatever that feather means.
Yeah,
like
that definitely means something.
We've guessed that maybe that's how Lucifer gets his wings back. Maybe that's how he gets his whole powers back. But we don't really know. And that's why it was also surprising with this episode that Maze is becoming more human, or says she wants to become more human, because she has that feather all along. So maybe she has some other plan going on that I thought was happening, but it sounds like she's just talking about becoming more human. So what does that mean?
Yeah, because to me, I felt like this episode, she went to Dr. Linda because she's like, well, I guess I'm stuck here. I mean, because even though she has the feather, I mean, Lucifer is just like clearly involved with Chloe and all this and just wants to stay. So I think Maze is just like, well, I guess I'll, enjoy it while I have it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I did feel like that from her. And Boo69Bs brings up, like, maybe Trixie is like the kryptonite for Maze because she makes her nice just like Chloe is for Lucifer.
Right.
I was going to ask that. Do you guys think that she was nice to Trixie because she didn't know previously that was Chloe's daughter? Or do you think that she's not going to be as nice now that she knows who the mother is? Trixie?
I don't think so. I mean,
she likes Trixie enough.
Yeah, and most people with kids are just so different. I mean, she's like, yeah, I was an 8-year-old girl that wandered into the bar. And, most people kind of light up around kids. I mean, even demons, I guess.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because she went to Dr. Linda even afterwards and said, yeah, I made a friend and she's 8 years old. She's like, oh, well, good for you. But that was kind of cute because then it shows a more vulnerable side of Maze, which we haven't really seen aside from how she feels with Lucifer. I think that's the only person I've kind of seen she lets her guard down a little bit with.
Yeah, I also feel like she's very cat or animal-like in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So it is nice to have her kind of cuddle up to a kid and be like, that's it, that's all, that's enough.
Like
that's
kitties
enough
do.
of a friend,
Yeah.
And it also seems like she's going to become better friends with the Doctor.
Yeah,
Or
I
maybe
think
she's
so.
using the Doctor in another way. But
To be the earpiece to Lucifer, I wouldn't be surprised. Just because he listened so closely to Dr. Linda. If the seed was planted from Dr. Linda versus Maze, then maybe it'll be more authentic in Lucifer's mind.
Right, but is Lucifer going to go back to the Doctor? Hopefully he will, but didn't they have a falling out in the last episode?
Yeah, he got a little, petulant child with her as well.
Yeah,
so.
because he found out about a Menadil.
Yeah.
So that's something that could happen. I also really would like to find out something with what the secret behind Chloe is, besides she's just like the one for Lucifer. I hope that she has some sort of supernatural connection that we don't know yet. And now that we've met the mom, I don't think it's from the mom side.
Yeah.
Do we know who her dad is?
I know that he died after she did that dirty movie, basically. That was like the,
Right.
Phoebe Cates, thing.
And that made her want to become a cop? Is that what it was?
I think that was the thing, is like she was so embarrassed by him dying right after with all the paparazzi that, that's sort of what pushed her. Because, I mean, they didn't really delve too into it. Then that's all that I know about her dad. Maybe the chat roll remembers something else, but...
I'm hoping the dad is like an angel or something.
Yeah,
but
something weird.
Could be. That could be the connection, the missing link that we need. It'll be
Yeah,
cool.
it would be one thing if Lucifer does... What if Lucifer ends up hooking up with Chloe and then we get a spawn of Satan in the next season? I'm just saying,
Taking
maybe
it
that's
there.
season 5. We get a spawn.
6 seasons in a movie.
Looking
Demon
for
Spawn.
666 seasons in a movie.
And then Trixie would be the sister, like the sweet sister.
Yeah, the sweet sister, like teaching the spawn of Satan how to be good.
Wonderful. That won't be dangerous for Trixie at all.
That'd be great. That'd be the
I mean,
spinoff.
if it's anything like Lucifer, though, it won't be that bad of a child. So we'll see.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he needs a terrible twos over there.
I need him to be bad. I want Lucifer to be terrible.
He is Satan, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, there you go.
But we've got some really good comments here in the chat. Michael G. Cock, Maze likes Lucifer, Linda, and Trixie because they are 100% honest. Probably a comment on the two-faced nature of Hollywood. And I tend to agree because I'm sort of with Maze. Like, honestly... That is my biggest pet peeve. I don't care if you're a murderer. As long as you're, like, honest about it, I can probably like you. But, yeah, if you're just a two-faced phony, I'm like, I don't know.
You stab a few people, it's cool. You tell me
It's
no
cool.
big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you swear it happened, I'm fine with it. Please stab as many people as you want. Just tell me about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see, because I love Dexter.
But you take that my cookie? You take my cookie and you say you didn't take my cookie? I'm going to get my friend
ain't
that
cool.
stabs people to come and find you. Because I know he stabs people because he tells me the truth. Unlike you cookie takers. Damn cookie takers.
It's true, though. Yeah, I
This show's
can
weird
see
without
that.
Steven.
I can see that relation, though, about the honesty, and that's kind of, something that a lot of people are hiding in this show. It doesn't seem like everybody's lying, but it's a common case of the omission. Nobody says the full thing until it becomes like, well, I kind of have to tell you now because I need your help. And I think that kind of irks people, and especially... Lucifer, because he always wants to know everything, and the fact that he can pull out people's desires kind of makes that an innate quality of his, that he can just figure out what's on people's mind and then, you know, do what he needs to do. But when he has people that are not telling him the full truth, even people that are close to him, like Maze and Amenendiel, who I wouldn't say, you know, are maybe his closest, like, right-hand people at this time, maybe previously, but I don't know. The fact that they're all kind of doing their own little story and subplot at this time, it's gonna fall out.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there'll be a big. I mean, I think Maze at this point isn't plotting. I think that's why she went to Dr. Linda. But we'll see. I mean, maybe, you know, because we still have the feather, and I know someone in the chat roll Joe Brody brought up that maybe the feather is used to save Trixie, and I don't know.
Yeah.
We just don't know what that feather's for. Trixie,
Feather can be used for anything.
Lucifer,
We also don't know what type of power the feather actually has,
Yeah.
Exactly.
if any. But I assume it has something. So
yeah,
it's not
well, they
just
said the wings can cause people to die and all this havoc to be created.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, didn't they say that when the wings were burned? He was like, you're going to save a lot of people, or people have already died, something along those lines.
Right.
So obviously they were an imminent threat, and then even having a little piece of it maybe has like some of the power, but do you think it's the full amount, or is it just...
I mean, maybe it's enough to grow the additional power, but we also see, even in the episode with the wings, we see someone who's obsessed with the wings and has to keep looking at them. So they have some sort of heavenly power that can, like, grip people. So that's maybe something they could do with the feather, is they make it, you know... Mesmerizing. Just use, like, So who knows? But we're coming to a head with the Malcolm thing. He's got the gun that has no trace to it, except for maybe Dan, who took it out of where the evidence is. Yeah, he has an uncautious Dan now who has a motive, who he even tricked into saying, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't defend you, and kind of threatened Lucifer in a way. So yeah, that's where I think it's heading. So I guess that's probably going to be the next episode, which is actually going to be in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to have a break
Sadly.
next week, unfortunately. But then we're coming back for 2 weeks for another one. Any other predictions, do you think?
Polera 1C has a really good comment. What if Dan turns to Maze with help with Malcolm? And that would be interesting, because I really liked their scene a few weeks ago with Dan and Maze and seeing how that worked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really like that they brought that up, because, yeah, he's already talked to her. He knows she's got something going on with Lucifer. You know, maybe he goes to her
But
to
it's
tell her all
going to
this
cost
stuff.
him, I think.
Yeah. Maze will probably sex him up. Or
That's what I was
something.
thinking.
Yeah,
The price is going to be something that may upset Chloe a little bit.
Right. I wouldn't mind Dan getting a bit more interesting. I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't mind whether it's a night with a sexy demon.
A night with the Britneys or what?
Right. Maybe he dies and comes back to life. That would be nice. Maybe he becomes an angel.
Yeah, Dan could get
I don't know.
superpowers, right?
Yeah.
Or supernatural side.
Give everyone supernatural powers.
That would be a way more
Then we're
interesting
talking.
show.
Just do it. Okay. That's what it's like without Steven here. He's like the one, like, I like procedurals. I think it should still be a procedural. And I'm like, procedurals are fine. I like supernatural shows. I want more supernatural shows. So that's kind of where the show is balances, and that's what makes the show interesting. So I think both are good. Okay, I think that's it for today.
Yeah.
I have an interesting little tidbit.
never
So you guys know Kevin Alejandro. Obviously, he plays Dan. So he said, "I won't let you read the
Okay,
answer."
I'm just listening.
If you and the devil had a guys' night out at the bar, and this was in a recent interview, who would get the girl at the end of the night between Lucifer and Dan? I mean, this one's kind of obvious,
So
right?
Lucifer, yeah.
Okay.
What does he say?
Too obvious, sorry.
Does he say?
He says, I would probably win the girl, but he would probably steal her from me. He is a shysty little devil.
Yeah.
That's,
I like
Like,
that.
yeah,
true.
that's probably the parallel of exactly what's going to happen in the show.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still thinking that they're going with Chloe and Dan, and because Lucifer, I mean, he's Satan. It's not like he can get married and have kids, and
Right.
Maybe he can. Can he have a spawn of Satan?
I mean, he can
Yeah,
have
and
a
he
spawn of
can,
Satan.
but I mean-
a spawn of Satan.
we just don't want to see that, right? We want to see Lucifer be Lucifer.
It would be nice to do
Yeah.
an angel thing with him, where
Yeah.
he just, like, you know, after they do hook up, or if there is something, he just turns fully devil and becomes too evil for her. and then she has to deal with that. That would be nice.
See, yeah, because we want him evil, at least somewhat. I don't
I
mind
realized saying
doing
angel was also very confusing because we're talking about angels and demons. I was talking about Buffy's angel.
Yeah.
Is what I was mentioning.
And jealous, right? When
Yeah,
turn
jealous.
evil.
Perfect. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna say goodbye, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
He's out. He's tired.
All right, guys. So I guess that is it for the Lucifer after show. Since Dave is ready to go home and go to bed, of course
He wants his 2-week hiatus.
I'm just gonna watch the show over and over again. That's what I'm gonna do.
And of course, you can find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, and my fabulous co-host.
Once again, I'm Samantha Benitz. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Samantha_Benitz.
And you can find me at Mr. Dave Childs anywhere on DaveChild.com.
Or at the Grove.
I'm at the Grove. I'm always at the Grove. Good night, folks.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Hail
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.